At recent, the Long March 5, 3 carrier rocket has made a successful return flight. Its total thrust exceeds 1,000 tons. Geosynchronous transfer orbit and low Earth orbit can carry 14 tons and 25 tons respectively. It is the third largest rocket in the world, second only to the US Delta IV and Musk Falcon 9 Heavy. The strategic dividend for China is huge. The Fan 5 will undertake several major recent space missions in the future. While netizens cheered the success of the Long March 5 launch, neighboring India is worried. Recently, according to media reports, India has announced it will develop a new carrier rocket with better performance than the Long March 5. The launch is planned for 2025. In addition to meeting their own space needs, the other main goal is to catch up with China. In the spirit of China, I also a good idea. India has teamed up with the country's research and development departments. This is not the first time in a space that India has been so eager to catch up with China. China's Chang'e 4 lunar lander landed on the moon in early 2019. India immediately began work on a lunar probe. It made its first launch before the end of the year. At the critical moment, however, the lunar probe went missing. This has further stimulated India's exploration of space, increased India's catch-up with China. But is it possible to catch up? In June 2016, China's Long March 9 heavy carrier rocket was officially approved. The first flight is expected to be completed by 2028. I just don't know when Long March 9 made its first flight. Can India's heavy rocket take off? The core class of the Long March 9 has a maximum diameter of 10 meters. The total length is over 100 meters, equivalent to the height of a 30-story building. The takeoff mass exceeds 4,000 tons and the takeoff thrust reaches 5,873 tons. It is the largest launch vehicle in the world. The Long March 9 has a carrying capacity of 140 tons. The Earth-Moon transfer orbit has a carrying capacity of about 50 tons. The capacity is like that of the Saturn V. Saturn V was a product of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. The rocket is 110 meters long and has a maximum diameter of 10 meters. The takeoff weight is 3,038 tons and the takeoff thrust is close to 3,500 tons. Low Earth orbit has a carrying capacity of 118 tons, and Earth-Moon orbit has a carrying capacity of 45 tons. From the size of the Long March 9 and Saturn V are not much different. The low Earth orbit and the Earth-Moon orbit have much higher carrying capacities than the Saturn V. This puts forward the rocket engine more demanding requirements. About the Long March 9 heavy rocket engine, the researchers conducted several demonstrations. The final decision to use a 500-ton liquid oxygen kerosene engine and a 200-ton liquid hydrogen oxygen engine, the rocket uses a 3-stage-and-a-half program. 4 of the boosters are powered by two 480-ton liquid oxygen and kerosene engines. The first stage uses 4 500-ton liquid oxygen and kerosene engines. The second stage uses two 200-ton liquid oxygen and hydrogen engines. Two 50T liquid oxygen and hydrogen engines are used in the third stage. The whole rocket uses a total of 11 engines. Eventually, the 10-meter diameter Long March 9 will be launched into space and complete various missions. Except for the engine, it is 5 fat compared to the diameter of 5 meters. The Long March 9 will be more difficult and demanding to develop. When rockets get big enough, a lot of the construction gets complicated. Like the C-919 to C-929 variations on the domestic aircraft. The C-929 is also being co-developed by Russia, but the Long March 9, such a large strategic project, can only rely on China to complete alone. For example, the constant scale test of a rocket. The Long March 5 used to be made by hanging rockets, but the Long March 9 is too big to hang. This is the first thing the space crew has to do. In addition, the Long March 9 will also be upgraded in other aspects of technology to reduce the mass of the rocket. The Long March 9 propellant storage tank will be made of a lightweight, high-strength aluminum lithium alloy. In addition, the rocket electrical and control systems will use a fault diagnosis system. On this basis, the fault diagnosis and reconstruction of the rocket are further realized. Improve the success rate of the rocket's first flight. India has made China a competitive target and has been catching up. China's Long March 9 is not designed to catch up with India. At present, the United States and Russia are actively seizing the commanding heights in space and restart heavy rocket development. Europe and Japan are also racing to promote large launch vehicle research and demonstration. China's lunar probe is about to enter its second phase. Although the Long March 5 has made its first successful flight, but more powerful rockets are needed to send people to the moon. The goal of the second phase of China's manned lunar landing program is, in 2030, 4 to 6 people will stay on the moon for a long time and return safely. To meet the need for future moon bases and manned missions to Mars, only the Long March 9 can accomplish this task. Although China lags behind some Western countries in space technology, but we have a lot of young people in space. The average age is around 30, an advantage no other country has. In the future, these researchers will lead China's space industry to create new achievements.